This tool is the single most powerful tool that I have in my self-development arsenal. Welcome to the Awesome Human Podcast, your path to total human optimization. Ready to unleash your 100%? Let's go. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Awesome Human Podcast. This tool that I'm talking about today, that I am incredibly passionate about, is breathwork. Now, you would have seen breathwork talked about a lot. It has been talked in the world of meditation, mindfulness, stress relief, and even more so now with the emergence of Wim Hof and other breathing practices. And for me, people are missing an incredibly huge opportunity, and I feel incredibly lucky to have immersed myself in this tool over the last couple of years. Now, most people know of breathwork through the simple kind of framework of conscious connected breathing. So what that means is we are conscious, so we are sitting there, we are aware, we are awake, we are focused on the breath, and we are breathing, and we are putting our intention around it and using that quite often as a form of meditation, relaxing, settling in ourselves. And there's loads of methods. A really popular method is box breathing, for example, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, nice and slowly, you hold it for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, and you hold it for 4 seconds. And the big thing with this is we slow down, we are present, we start to go inward, we start to find a place of calm. It helps center ourselves and relax the central nervous system. And these are all great tools. They're great little kind of short-term moments that you can have to calm yourself down and center yourself. And quite often, I'll just take a minute where I'm just like, right, just breathe, just relax. And it, again, more than the power of the breath, it's literally just taking a moment in the world of busyness to just recalibrate and take a moment for yourself. For me, this is like level 1 of breathing, and it is great. I love it. I use it in meditation, I use it in everyday life, and it doesn't have to be long. A lot of these tools that we see in the world of wellness and self-development and health and fitness, they don't have to be invasive. Like for example, meditation, we don't have to meditate for 15 minutes. You can meditate for a minute. A lot of the time, a lot of these tools are overused in their kind of, not overused, what's the word? They're kind of like the application of it almost feels like a big lift, because it's like people are like, oh, I meditate for 30 minutes a day and so on. The act of meditation is becoming more aware of yourself, how you feel, and your thoughts. That's kind of really the central heart of meditation. There's many interpretations to it, but it's bringing awareness to self in a non-judgmental way. So you could do meditation doing the washing up. You could just have a moment, you're calm, you're just focusing on the washing up, the meditation, the moment, how you feel. You don't have to be doing anything else. So we can choose to have meditative and calm moments during the day. Sorry, bit of a side quest. Back to the breath. So I feel that level 1 of breath work is this kind of conscious connected breathing, and you can use your intuition to kind of go where you need to go with the breath. And this is another problem with this area of wellness. We don't use our intuition to guide us, we use our head to guide us, and that is where you need to develop to. You need to develop away from the head driving your wellness practices, and you need to move towards your heart driving it. So when we do meditation, a lot of people will sit down and they'll be like, right, I'm counting the breath. Like you're using your brain straight away, and we need to use our heart. What is my heart telling me to do? Okay, my heart is telling me to go long with the breath. I feel like I want to go long. And the reason we need to do this is the heart guides what we truly want. The head is a logical processing department. It takes all the information that we know, that we've digested, and it guides action. But that might not be in alignment with our truth. It might not be what our body needs. So going into the heart, into our intuition is absolutely key. So level 1, conscious connected breathing. Level 2 is deep, intention-based, and I'll call it power breath work. So Wim Hof breath work is an amazing example of this. And this is where I feel the power of breath work truly is. And now I'm going to tell you my story with it and how I want you to get on board with breath work. And I hopefully will outline a compelling case as to truly the power of this. So let me rewind. I got long COVID back in November 2020. And I went to a practitioner who I knew would help me on my journey. He was local to me. He was an osteopath. He was an acupuncturist. He was very centered. He was very rounded and holistic in his approach. And he was a Wim Hof breathwork practitioner. And I sat down with him and he made me do a couple of things. And one of these things was a breath practice where you use your breath to assess your physiological readiness. And it was a really interesting and simple tool in my recovery. He also recommended I started to do yoga nidra. Yoga nidra is a form of meditation where you're guided through a full and complete relaxation of like all the muscles in your body. Really good. There's lots of 10-minute YouTube playlists online, which if you're feeling stressed out is a great way to de-stress and fully relax. So I started to do use these two tools. And this was my first introduction to breath work. And it was all centered around calming my physiological system, which was highly stressed, highly alert because of the state that I was in. And then as that evolved, I started to explore breath through some of these YouTube playlists and some of these practitioners that were teaching it, and I was kind of intrigued. And then my practitioner, Tom, he advertised a Wim Hof fundamentals workshop. So it's a half day and you go and learn about the power of the breath, the teachings behind Wim Hof's principles of the breath. You then do about an hour and 20 minutes of his breath work, sometimes with cacao beforehand. And cacao as a compound is said to be vasodilating, heart expanding, and it kind of softens your nervous system. And for me, I use it quite a lot. I'm a huge fan of cacao before breath work. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And then you'll quite often go into an ice bath. Now, I've been doing ice baths in my recovery anyway, but I wanted to explore the breath, and I'm a huge fan of immersion. If you want to master something, go and do a workshop, go and visit a coach. You can read it all online, but when you immerse yourself, you experience it and you become a master far, far quicker. So I've always been a person that will seek out workshops, will seek out coaching, will go away to retreats abroad. I've probably done like 8 to 10 retreats abroad where I've been doing various different things because I want to be immersed. I want to fast track my experience, and I also want to just get into it. Like if I feel I really want to do something, I'm gonna go and really do it rather than try and pick it apart online with various podcasts and YouTube videos, where of course there is validity to that, but I think mastery comes from physical contact with amazing humans that can inspire and teach you. So I went on this workshop and then my mind was blown. My mind was blown by the physical or physiological power of breath work. So during this hour where we got taken through breath cycles, you do 30 to 40 rounds of the breath. So the basic premise of Wim Hof's breathing is that you breathe incredibly intensely in, so like you're filling all your lungs and your diaphragm, so, and then you let the breath go, and you let the breath go not like fully, you just kind of let it go, and then you go straight back into the next breath and you let it go, and you do that 30 to 40 times. And what you're doing is you're essentially hyper oxygenating your system. And then you'll do your last breath, you'll breathe out, and then you'll hold that quite often for 1.5, 2, 3 minutes. And then you'll do a big inhale. You'll hold that and you'll squeeze the breath in your body with a conscious effort to squeeze the breath to your head. And then you'll let go and you'll go into another round. And a lot of the time these practitioners are doing it to playlists, and these playlists take you on a journey, which, credit to every practitioner I've ever worked with, thank you for your wisdom, your guidance, your brilliance of bringing together these playlists, because it takes you on such an incredible physical, mental, emotional, spiritual journey. Like, I'm just in awe of what practitioners that I've worked with have done. Tom Parry, Alex Manos, Darren from Spiritus, some amazing people. And what I found in that first Wim Hof fundamentals session is that my body could experience deep physical, mental, emotional, spiritual transformation through the power of the breath. And what I realized in that session is, and this is where I feel the power of the breath is, the breath can carry messages to every cell in your body. Because think about it, you're breathing in oxygen, and that oxygen is going to every cell in your body. That's my theory anyway. I haven't conversed with people on this. I'm just very, very strong proponent of this because of my experience with the breath. So when you start to think and feel things, for example, I want to, let's just take an intention that you might have for your life. Like, I want to empower myself. Imagine if you had that intention and you were repeating it and repeating it, and this oxygen is going into your body and filling this message with all of your cells. It's incredible. So during breath work now, and don't get me wrong, this took a while to get to this point, but now my breath work sessions are incredibly powerful. They're incredibly vivid. I'm getting a lot of visualizations. My third eye comes through a lot. I'll see a lot of colors. I'll get numbing of certain parts of my body. I'm tingling. My abdomen will vibrate, and that's when I get kind of like energetic shifts in my body. I get full torso. Kind of like cramping up. I've had all sorts of, I've cried no end of times because of these big mental and emotional shifts I've had. It's just been incredibly powerful. So that workshop got me really thinking about the power of the breath and how I could use the breath to transform and evolve parts of myself. And the thing that I was really fascinated with is this is free. Like, I can lie down once I've learned this, give 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 minutes and go on this incredible journey of self-development with myself, with an intention, with the power of the breath. So after that workshop, I started to seek out more people. I started to play with it myself. I also downloaded the Wim Hof app, and I used that app to kind of reinforce what I was doing, why I was doing it, etc. Now, I want to ignore the ice bath component of Wim Hof's teaching. I personally believe that too many people are getting hooked on ice baths as like the big Wim Hof thing, and it's not. The big Wim Hof thing is the breath work, but the people aren't, from what I see, investing the time and really starting to get to the crux of the power of this. I'm literally standing here right now on video, on my podcast, on audio, saying this is probably the number one tool I have to transform myself and have done over the last couple of years. And the reason I say number one is because it's free. A lot of these other things that I've done, and I'll touch on them a little bit in this podcast, have cost me more time and more money. So it moves to the top of the list because it's free and it's with the breath. It's that simple. Anyway, so workshop, downloaded the app, and then I started to talk to a friend. And this friend is a great friend of mine. He used to come on my old podcast, Ben Coomber Radio. He used to work with us in our education system, Alex Manos. He trained as a transformational breath coach. And he said, hey, I'm a bit early to this. I'm not really taking on clients. Do you want to come down and do it? Now, I made the decision, because I was researching this at the time as well, to also take a microdose of psilocybin. Now, it's my personal choice. This is not me recommending people take drugs. I'm merely talking about my journey. But I'd been researching for a long time the power of certain psychedelic substances on personal transformation. So I said to Alex, I was like, would you mind if I did a microdose of psilocybin while doing the breath work? And he said, yep, absolutely fine. I've also, done and experienced several things myself, so I'm on board with this. So I did this transformational breath session, and it was about an hour and 20 minutes long. It had a playlist. He was a guide. Transformational breath is similar to Wim Hof, but it's more cyclical. So you're there with an open mouth and you're kind of it's really, really intensive, really aggressive, and you're even more kind of like hyper oxygenating the system. And being guided one-to-one was unbelievable. That session and the intention that I took into that session, and I talked to Alex about my intention for where I was at in my life in that session, was absolutely transformational. Fast forward a little bit, I did another 2 Wim Hof workshops with Tom to evolve my understanding and again just be immersed in an amazing group. Because when you go to group breath sessions, there's like a group energy. If you think about 20 people in a room, all doing the same thing, all trying to explore the depths of who they are to bring about huge change, it's unbelievable, it's magical. And then I went to a different Wim Hof practitioner who's about an hour away from me, and this was a very, very emotional journey for me. There was a particular point in my life where I felt conflicted with part of my identity and how it had evolved since getting ill, becoming a dad, and just lots of other things changing in my life. And this practitioner really helped me through that breath session, which was very, very transformative and emotional for me. And that leads me on to talking about intention. So this is where I feel the power of the breath and in the intentions that we have to change ourselves are incredibly powerful and perfectly paired. So I went into this session with the intention, and it was very clear to me what this intention was of, I am ready for my truth. And what had to change in me on a deep mental, emotional level was quite profound. And the journey, this breath session was probably about an hour and 20 minutes long. We did cacao beforehand, an amazing group of people. There's about 8 people, and it was very, very emotional for me. I cried about 3 times during it. There was a lot of physical reaction in me. Once I finished the breath session, I felt like I'd done a marathon. And this is why I haven't actually exercised for about 6 weeks now as of recording this podcast, because I've been listening to what my body and my heart needs, and it's not physical exertion right now. And because I've been doing a lot of continued deep mental and emotional work on the spiritual journey that I'm on, my body was very tired from it. And when you do quite intensive breath work, it's tiring on the body. Sometimes breath work lifts you up, it energizes you, but it depends on why you're doing the breath work, what you're trying to uncover. And as you can potentially appreciate, I don't know where you are in your journey listening to this podcast, you might be doing breath work to uncover things and change things and shift yourself mentally, emotionally, and energetically. And when you do that, you shift whole body physiology, and you have to give your body time to recalibrate. So after that breath session, I was really tired for a good couple of days because I shifted a lot. And in the world of kind of breath work and psychedelic intervention, they call this integration. So it's the time that your body takes to reintegrate what you've changed in your psychology and physiology, because otherwise you leave your body in kind of an internal state of chaos, because you're going about your day and you're not really thinking about what your body has kind of learned and uncovered, and those kind of layers that you've peeled back, and it kind of really struggles. So then I went back to doing a lot of breath work by myself. I found a playlist on YouTube that I really like. It's one with Wim Hof, and the playlist is one where he takes you through 30 breaths, and then it repeats with the same voice in the same way. And the reason I like this is because that allows me to tune out of what he's saying mentally and follow the rough rhythm, but be led by my heart and by the intention that my heart has and what my body's feeling. Because if we follow meditations too much with our head, we don't really tap into where we need to be and become really heart and intuitive aligned with the journey that we're on in that meditation or breath practice. And breath work is a form of meditation. For me, and what I know now, I believe and I feel that breath work like this is the most powerful form of meditation that you can do. So I was doing a lot by myself, and then I've just recently had another one-to-one transformational breath session with Alex Manos. He lives on the South Coast. Highly recommend seeing him. It's unbelievable. And this time I did it on psilocybin again, but we also did it on cacao. And this was an incredibly transformative session again with Alex. And this time I actually asked him what he felt the intention was in me, because I actually felt quite conflicted going into the session. And as a result of that session, a lot has actually changed in my life. I've done a lot of healing with a particular family member, and I feel that I'm moving towards a path of greater truth for myself, and it's incredibly exciting. In between this and this breath work that I've been doing, I've also been reading a lot of meditation-based philosophy. I'm a huge fan of the Waking Up app by Sam Harris. There's a lot of meditations in it. There's a lot of spiritual personal development in it. There's also kind of the philosophy of meditation and personal development and becoming more aware, and it's incredibly good app. I've also been reading books, The Surrender Experiment, The Untethered Soul, The Celestine Prophecy. They've all been really interesting reads for me on my journey. There's been other books in there, but they're the top three off my head. There's been other sort of types of meditation. I've done other workshops with different practitioners. I'm doing another one at the end of the month that's all anchored around self-belief and self-love, and that will be another kind of journey-based evening. But these things are incredibly enriching for the soul, and that's why I'm doing them, because I will do anything that is allowing me to progress either on a physical, mental, emotional or spiritual level, and I absolutely love it. And that's why I'm recording this podcast, because I need to find a way to encapsulate my passion for this practice, because it's been one of the most transformative things I've done. I've also been continuing to have my energy sessions with the practitioner that I've worked with for a long time called Britta, who lives in Essex. That's been amazing, and that would be part of the journey that facilitated this, because I've seen how we as people can change on a deep belief and energetic level. Like, we try so hard as people to change ourselves through physical and mental processes, but when you get deep into the subconscious by using energy therapies and the breath, for me and what I've experienced, this is where true change can happen. And let me show you how I feel, or try and describe how I feel I've changed as a person as a result of these practices and doing breath work. So these are some of the intentions that I've used in breath work over the last year. I am not a victim. I am courageous. I surrender to the power of the universe. I let go of the stories that no longer serve me. I am open to my truth. I want to be compassionate and loving to all. I love myself. I let go of my ego. I surrender to a power greater than myself. Now, there's been lots of other breathwork sessions that I've done with other intentions. These have been some of my most powerful and transformative breath sessions. And I think you can probably get a sense of how transformative that could be by what I've just told you. Think of the ego. The ego is part of that inner voice that we have that can kind of control a lot of our behavior and influence us from a kind of mental and emotional level. Imagine being able to let go of that. Now, I don't know if I've fully done that, but I feel like I have. And that happened through lots of evolved work and awareness, but also that meditation session, that breathwork session where I said, I'm willing to let my ego go. And you know this stuff works when your body is trembling, you've got pins and needles all up your arms and your legs, your stomach's vibrating, and then you just have this clear visualization of your past self, then your future self, then your third eye comes through, and then the next thing you know, you're in tears. I haven't controlled that. My deep subconscious, my old belief patterns that I'm breaking free of, that's controlling that. And that's why I know this stuff works. And that's why I can only encourage you to go and experience this. So all I want you to do off the back of this podcast is, 1, be open to the power of the breath. Be willing to give it a go. Once you decide that, number 2, go look for a Wim Hof fundamentals course near you or a similar course and immerse yourself in the power of the breath. Download Wim Hof's app as well and start to just do the kind of basic stuff if you've not done it before. I guarantee you, if you have not experienced what I have with a session of Wim Hof, you could be doing so much more and be going so much deeper. You've just not been led yet in the right way. And I want to encourage you to go there. Then you can consider some one-to-one work. You might want to, try going on a kind of like a different course. I feel at some point I will go on a breath practitioner training workshop. I don't know what that looks like yet. I don't know when, but I feel that passionate about it that I love it. And it's helped me become so much more aware of myself, aware of who I am. It's transformed bits of me I didn't even know that could be transformed. I'm a more compassionate person. I'm incredibly calm. I'm a lot slower. I'm a much more intentional. There's far less stories that I have that hold me back. And I'll say far less because I don't want to say that I've kind of completed it by any stretch of the imagination, because I'm still peeling back layers of this stuff. I did an incredibly powerful breath session yesterday. That I still feel inspired by. And when you're truly in tune with your intuition with this, you don't have to second guess why you're doing breath work. I'll just feel something and I'm like, wow, I need to go and do some breath work on that. And while I'm in the breath work towards the end, usually like in the 4th or 5th round of the breath work, usually the next intention will come through, and it's almost like a layer of an onion where you've gone into the breath work and you've gone to peel back this layer of the onion, and then the next one appears and you know what is like the next stage of the journey. Honestly, I cannot be a bigger proponent of breath work. I think it is so powerful, and the great thing is it's free. Other side benefits, it's incredibly good at calming the central nervous system. So when I look at my aura ring after breath work, I'm literally at the bottom of CNS readiness, like I'm in an incredibly calm state. It's also the single only thing that will get rid of my migraines, which I've been suffering with from a long time, which have actually now stopped now that I've been not using wireless headphones. Yeah, interesting. But anyway, if I get a migraine and I do breath work, it goes. So thank you to every breath practitioner that has helped me so far. I'm incredibly grateful. Thank you for all the people that are out there that are promoting breath work. I think it's incredible and it's free. I really hope you'll try it. Go to a workshop somewhere close to you, try the Wim app, maybe get some one-to-one coaching, start to read around this stuff. I highly recommend the Waking Up app from Sam Harris as well. I'm a huge fan of this. It's been an incredible part of my journey. I can't wait to continue it. Thank you very much for listening to The Awesome Human. Go be a more awesome human with the power of the breath. Goodbye.